Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to pop in. Hi. Thanks for all the hearts. You guys, things are kind of crazy here. Thanks for all the hearts. You guys, so I planned on doing a Periscope today and things are crazy. So I think I told you we're in the process of selling our house. So we've got people in and out of our house. I'm kind of locked in my bedroom to do this quick Periscope. Arthur's watching a movie on the laptop. Things are crazy. So if I have to cut it short or if something happens, like a contractor walks in here, sorry. Thanks for coming anyway, you guys. Oh, thank you so much, all of you whole. Thank you. Thank you so much. So for those of you guys who maybe don't know me or you're new to watching my Periscopes, my name is Trisha. My website, thanks, Courtney. My website is called Eat Your Beats, and I'm a food blogger and I'm also a food photographer. And I love helping other photographers get the knowledge they need to take amazing shots. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me today for the next 15-20 minutes. I always like to say, if you have anybody you think would love to come and watch my scope, thanks so much. Then invite them. You can tweet this out. You can share it on Periscope. You can, I'm sure there's other ways to share too. But you guys can give me lots of hearts if you just love what I'm doing. I always appreciate it. I'm so glad that you guys are here to hang out with me. I'm gonna try to calm down because things are a little crazy this morning. But so as a lot of you guys know, if you were following me on Instagram, last week, my BFF and I, Courtney from clickitupanotch.com, last week we went to London and Paris, and it was amazing. The week before, I had actually done a Periscope on how I was going to travel with my gear, which I think a lot of you guys found pretty helpful. And so this was actually the first trip that I have taken. Ooh, sun just came out. That's Nebraska weather for you. This is actually the first trip that I had taken since I really had started to be more passionate about photography. So it was really fun for me to approach traveling through Europe with kind of fresh eyes. You know, most of the pictures that I have from beforehand that we would travel, they would be very snapshotty, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely a whole new experience to go and travel, especially going to places like Europe. What do you actually shoot? Predominantly I shoot food. That's the majority of what I shoot. So yeah, it was very fun to go and see things with completely different eyes. Oh, thank you so much. We had the best time sharing images, and honestly, I think Courtney and I both talked a lot about how it just was so inspiring as a photographer. Is an iPhone good enough of a camera? I think yes and no. You know, I think that a lot of times you're able to get amazing shots. I obviously had my phone with me. I was taking a lot of iPhone pictures. But I really wanted to also have my camera with me, but you can do amazing things with an iPhone. So I would say never discount that as an option. So yeah, if you want to use your iPhone as a travel camera, absolutely go ahead. It's light, it's portable, it takes good images. So yeah, go ahead. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of some do's and don'ts. And I actually wrote a post for Courtney. So I can link to that post that I wrote for her because I'm a contributor for her website. I don't know if some of you guys know that, but Nikon user or Sony. Okay, I don't know if that's Nikon user. I use Nikon, and I actually also have, thank you. I have a mirrorless Fuji as well, so that's what I took on my trip. So let's talk about some do's and don'ts for travel photography. So I would say the first do ask for permission if you're out doing street photography and taking picture of either people, which I don't usually take pictures of, but some people do, or people's possessions. So I found myself a lot of times going through these market stalls and being just super inspired by all the produce I was seeing and snapping away. And then I realized that sometimes people feel very possessive of their things and they don't want you to do that. So I learned to always make sure, yeah, sometimes they will, or they'll kind of say something to you oh, you shouldn't be taking that picture or whatever. So I definitely found myself always asking permission before I would take a picture of someone's items. And then when we went to Paris, I made sure I knew how to say it in French, so that at least I was making an effort. I probably completely butchered it, but I found that when I would ask in French if I could take a picture of something, they would be very excited, and they would usually smile and like want to be in the picture. So that was exciting. Okay, so another thing that I think is a definite do for travel photography is that you should take pictures and try to capture the details of things. So a lot of times we get caught up in wanting these huge sweeping images. Oh yeah, All of You Whole says, I also sometimes buy things. Absolutely, buying stuff is super great. And honestly, the only reason why we couldn't really buy stuff is that it was like fresh produce. So I couldn't really buy carrots, you know, from people, but that is such a great tip. If it's like cheese or something you can easily consume, absolutely, like buy something and they will definitely be like game for you to take all the pictures you want. You know what else I noticed? A lot of times market vendors would have like their Instagram handles on their chalkboards and be like, tag us on Instagram or Twitter. So definitely look for things like that. So yeah, I would definitely say photograph the details of what you're seeing, because a lot of times, especially when we're traveling, we take these huge images. You know, we've got these national landmarks that we want to capture, and then sometimes we miss like the smaller, more quiet moments. Like someone asked, do I study photography? I did not study photography in school, no. So you know, sometimes I found these great images of like a bicycle parked like in a side street, or you know, I took pictures of locks on the bridge in London, and taking pictures just of coffees, you know, in people's hands. And I really loved capturing the details. How do I get people to move away from something like a landmark? So do you mean people who are in your frame that you don't want there, or do you mean like you want to take pictures of people but you want to take pictures of them somewhere else? So give me clarification on that, and I'll see. Yeah, in your frame. Oh, you can't. I mean, so what I would do, so this is something I would do with Courtney quite a bit, is that especially when we were down in London, because it's very busy along the Thames, right? So like that's where all the tourists are. There's school children. Yeah, you can definitely go during a less touristy season, but we found it very busy. So what I would do is, this is great if you're traveling with a photographer, because they will understand this, as like it was very easy for me to say to Courtney, stand there, stay right there, and then I would hold my frame and I would wait for that window between like when this person left the frame and this person walked in, and then I would snap, right? So sometimes you just have to time it like that, and then sometimes you just have to accept there's people in your frame. Yep, it definitely worked great. I have images where there's nobody in the frame with her, even though there were hundreds of people walking around. I just missed that last question. Sorry, if you could ask it again. I think it had to do with like if I took pictures at night. I missed it. Ask me again, and I'll get to that. Would you talk a little slower? Sure. So Courtney says, plus walk around and find a different angle. That's a great tip as well. Yeah, you can definitely walk around, move around. Yeah, anything that's going to help you get less people in your frame is going to be great. So then I also talked about making sure that you do still capture the touristy stuff. You want to have those pictures, obviously. I didn't want to say, oh, here she goes, Desi. Food photos during the day versus at night. So honestly, once it got dark, I did not try to take any more pictures. It's just too challenging. And your white balance, and you've got, you know, like a lot of darkness, plus you're competing with whatever light you're working in. And a lot of times when we would be in restaurants, it would be like candlelight, right? So like very dark situations. So typically once it hit nighttime, I would stop taking pictures, and then I would just use something like my iPhone, but that would be more for like personal sharing, not something that I would like edit and kind of send out on Instagram, which I think is a great thing for like having Snapchat, because then you're sharing those behind the scenes things of stuff that you're enjoying, but it's that understanding of like, these pictures aren't going to be great because I'm in like a cave and it's dark and we only have candles, which kind of was a situation that we were in. Not a real real cave, but it was kind of like a cave. So then that kind of goes into my next do of do use white balance. Yes, but definitely fun cave. Do use white balance because you are going to be working in so many different lighting situations. Do a travel workshop to Europe. Listen, you guys, I would love to. I would absolutely love to. But you know what? If you guys are interested in a travel workshop, you should check out my friend Eva because she hosts amazing workshops. And she's got a couple coming up this year that are super fantastic. So I would love to attend one of hers. So what's her website? It's called Adventures in Cooking. And you can find her on Instagram, and I don't know how to pronounce her maiden name, but it's Courtney can write it out for me, and then you guys can screen capture. But I forget how to pronounce her maiden name. So anyways, Courtney, find that for me and post it. Thank you. So yeah, white balance is really big, especially if every day we were over there, it was very cloudy, dark, overcast days. That's actually, that's the light I prefer to work in. But if those dark, more blue, cloudy, overcast days is not your comfortable space, definitely make sure you're using a custom white balance so that you're able to get the right colors that you want to see, so that your blues, so that your whites aren't looking blue or yellow, they're looking white, true to what your eye would see. And then also too, when you're going in and out of restaurants, if they have good enough light, yep, there's Courtney. Thank you. You guys can screenshot that. It's Eva Cosmos Flores, and I probably didn't say her maiden name correctly. Thank you. Yeah, she's amazing, and she does workshops overseas, so very exciting. Okay, so then the next thing I would suggest is stay connected to people. I cannot tell you how much of a difference this trip made, having that connectivity between my phone and the rest of the world, right? I was able to share images. I had a great phone plan where I was able to text with my husband and FaceTime and use data while I was over there for very inexpensive. You can also change out your SIM cards at airports if you have an unlocked phone. But staying connected to my family as well as sharing my images was like a million times easier than I anticipated it would be. So that was very exciting, knowing that I could still stay connected. I used Dropbox to share my images. I had my laptop. My cell provider is Sprint, and I was amazed at their One World plan. This is going to sound super weird, but this is not a commercial, but if anybody uses Sprint, I was shocked at how good their One World plan is. It's really, really minimal for up to 1 gig of data, and I'm on my phone a lot. Yeah. Can your camera share images to your phone? Oh, good question. So, Desi, my Nikon cannot because it is not wireless. Courtney's Nikon does have a wireless function, so she can share images to her phone. My Fuji is wireless. So my Fuji does have a wireless connection, so I can share that to my phone. But if you guys saw my Periscope from 2 weeks ago, I also talk about you can buy a SIM card from, yep, Courtney uses a D750. I have a D800, which is not wireless. You can buy a SIM card. I think it's called iFi Mobi, and that SIM card will go into any camera, like including a D800, and it will make your, so then your SIM card is what is wireless to your camera app. So if you don't have a camera, like my D800 is not Wi-Fi, you can get that card, and then it will transfer your images to your phone, which is very cool. So Courtney did transfer Wi-Fi quite a bit. What I would typically do is just upload my images at night to my laptop. My Fuji was being a little wonky while we were over there. Yeah. No problem, Desi. My Fuji was being a little funny. I couldn't get it to connect to my phone. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, I just have to say staying connected, and I think Courtney will agree, was like so easy, amazingly easy. And if you're going to London, I just have to tell you, if you're going to London, get the Tube Map app. It's the most brilliant app ever. It will tell you your routes and like what tube stations you need to take and where you need to get off, and it's the best app ever. Okay, so let's go into some of my don'ts. Let's get these don'ts out of the way super fast, okay? So, my number one don't pack too much gear. I know there's that fear of like, oh, I'm gonna wish I had this extra lens. And I was really like personally on the border between taking my macro, but I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna like not do it. I'm just gonna work with what I have. So I took my 2 cameras, just 1 lens for each, and that was it. And I felt very, very comfortable with having those 2 options. Second, don't. If you're traveling with a group that is not a group of photographers and they are literally just there as like tourists, don't monopolize their time by telling them they have to stop every 3 minutes so you can take a picture of another doorway. Our traveling companions were very accommodating to us because they knew that we wanted to take lots of images. But if we were in a hurry or if we needed to be somewhere at a certain time, we definitely knew like put the cameras away, walk like quickly. Yeah, spouses also too. Spouses get a little frustrated when they're like, okay, you've taken 12 pictures of that chair. We're good. So yeah, definitely don't monopolize your traveling companion's time. Taking pictures. That's just, I think sometimes we forget because we love it so much. It's so fun, but then maybe not as fun for like other people, right? Oh, okay. So also don't be afraid to look like a tourist. We talked a lot kind of about that lobster story. If anyone has read that, Elizabeth Gilbert, where she talks about the lobster, but basically there's always going to be a point where you like stand out and you look silly. So just accept it. Big magic. Yep. Thank you, Courtney. You are going to be a tourist and it's okay to look like a tourist sometimes. But don't be afraid because if you don't take those pictures, wouldn't it be terrible to come home and be like, oh, I didn't take that picture because I was embarrassed. I look like a tourist, right? Everybody's a tourist. It's fine. Like, don't be embarrassed. And then the number one biggest thing that I want to tell you guys is don't get stuck behind your viewfinder. Like at a certain point every day, make sure that you put your camera down or you put your phone down and you just walk and like enjoy being in a new country and a new environment. And like, so I'll tell you about this thing that I do. I always do this thing when I go to a new country where I close my eyes and I just like breathe in the smells of the new country. That's just something that I've always done. So I definitely made sure that I have those moments of like breathing in this air. I won't breathe in this same air again for a long time. So just really making sure that you're totally in the moment and enjoying things and then taking a quick picture and then putting your camera away. So those are my do's and don'ts for travel photography. Does anybody have any questions? I kept it good to right about 20 minutes. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I will tell you, you can go follow me on Snapchat. I had some youngins teach me how to use Snapchat. And so now I am snapping away like my life is interesting. It's not, but if you're into that, behind the scenes, then you can definitely follow me on Snapchat. I am Go Eat Your Beats over there as well. And definitely follow me on Instagram because that's where I'm sharing all my great images. Did I shoot in RAW? I did. Yep. I shot in RAW the whole time. That's the only thing I shoot in. And so, I wanted to make sure that I had that, ability to edit my pictures and have complete control. So yes, I did. I shot in RAW the whole time. And I know Courtney actually brought, an external hard drive so she could upload her images if they got too large. Aw, thanks. Can you share RAW to phone? So from my understanding, no. From my understanding, if an image is transferred over Wi-Fi, oh good, thanks you guys. I'm following you guys on Snapchat too. You guys have a cute snap. If you're transferring images Wi-Fi, I believe they will come over as a JPEG because your phone cannot read a RAW image. Your phone can only read a JPEG. That's my understanding. If anybody knows if I'm wrong, correct me. Oh, hi, Beth. Hi. I'm just at the end. You're missing it. Just watch the replay. Thanks. Beth just hopped on. No problem. Yeah, I'm happy to share. Staying connected was honestly one of my favorite things. Hey, yeah, watch the replay. Sorry. Any other questions, you guys? I love getting to hang out with you. I love that you come and listen and ask me questions and give me all the hearts. iPhone zoom isn't far. Thanks for the effort today. Oh, thank you. I know he does. No. Just kidding. Oh, Tahiti. I want to go to Tahiti. What lenses did I use? Good question. So for my Nikon, I took my 50 millimeter 1.8, and for my Fuji, I took my 35 millimeter. I think it's a 1.2 or 1.4. It's essentially though like a 50 millimeter because my Fuji is not a full frame mirrorless camera. So anything else? If you have questions, ask them on Instagram or find me on Snapchat. And I will see you guys later. Bye. Thanks for all the hearts, guys. Bye.